One hazy day at the end of August, I was standing in line to enter a public pool in Brooklyn. With beads of sweat running down my back, I wished I had found this place sooner. The moment I saw the water bouncing the sunlight and creating kaleidoscope patterns underwater, I could feel my body cooling down. I took off my mask at the poolside and got into the water. Around me was the public pool scene just like any summer. Kids playing and screaming, swimmers doing laps, couples gazing into each other's eyes. It felt familiar and strange at the same time. It could be because I hadn't been out in public without a mask for the last 5 months, or because I could see slight yet definite changes pop in their heads here and there. I used to swim at the local gym in my neighborhood. I have always been an avid swimmer, but at the end of March, the gym closed due to the lockdown. One of my beloved pastimes was taken, yet it was nothing compared to what followed. Work was suspended. Stores closed down. My roommate was laid off. To make things even worse, we had to move out. In a desperate attempt to hold on to normal life, I almost instinctively stuck to the routine. I woke up at a certain time in the morning, grabbed a cup of coffee at the cafe around the corner, walked in the afternoon, and poured my energy into creative activities. Later on, watching the daily briefing by Governor Cuomo was added onto that list. In the middle of April, I was at the cafe getting coffee as usual. Then the barista told me they would be closed for a while. I panicked. I was trying desperately not to lose my mind over things happening around me beyond my power. An insignificant inconvenience such as not being able to get my coffee in the morning felt like a symbol of losing control. Hearing the wave of terrifying news about the pandemic was not helping either. We suffered an additional headache caused by the pressure to move. My roommate was resistant, arguing there would be no possible way our landlord could kick us out. I understood his frustrations, but I no longer wanted to deal with the unsettling feeling of floating in this temporal situation. I've lived here for 30 years, said my roommate. It would be hard for me to find a new place. My work situation, my age. How can I move now? I told him there would be no harm in trying. I might have been trying to convince myself that it'd be okay instead. As the city saw a glimpse of hope to get back to normal, we moved out. My roommate ended up finding a spacious apartment a few blocks down. I might be able to move all my things from the storage, he said, excited.
Hey, currently I work at a record store in Brooklyn. It's a little weird though, because COVID changed that because I was doing something different. And then of course during COVID things were different because it's like businesses weren't open and people weren't out and you couldn't spend money and life's changed. And I'm happy to be back doing this again. Music is it for me. I'm not a big fan of change for the most part. My last apartment before this, I was there for 27 years and didn't think I'd ever move, but had to during COVID, which was a bummer. I think you go through life, or at least I do go through life and say, well, everything's been great. I have nothing to complain about. But then I never had kids, and then who gets all this stuff and my records, and start thinking about why am I collecting stuff? Where's it gonna go? Who's gonna get it? Who's gonna care? That maybe is one thing that's kind of like, but everything else is fine. Still writing songs and playing music. So, there's always hope to write a new song someday that means something to me or somebody else. Yeah, it's worth it. You gotta have something to keep going. That keeps me going.
As for me, I moved into a new neighborhood. I felt slightly uncomfortable in the new environment at first, but soon enough started to enjoy exploring the area. A new park to go on a stroll, new stores to check out, new streets to discover. Most of all, it gave me a fresh perspective. After a certain amount of time, people become comfortable with their surroundings and start to fear changes. Whatever their normal is, they start to believe it is the right way or the only way. Under certain circumstances, they stop challenging this and give in. We are far from back to normal, and as much as we might not like to admit this, we might never go back to the exact same normal we've all known. Yet, when you really think about it, things have been constantly changing all the time. While some changes are intentional, most of them happen whether we like them or not. We are reminded of that at an extremely rapid and global scale. When I remember the days of agonizing over moving, they already feel so distant that I almost reminisce about them. It was another challenge I've overcome, and now it is beyond me. It was so minuscule compared to graver challenges so many others had to face, but it was a challenge nonetheless. Now I can stretch my body in the pool and begin to take in my new neighborhood. In a world where nothing stays the same forever, we have no choice but to face the changes falling onto our laps. As I float in the pool, I looked above me at an airplane cruising the sky and can't help but wonder who was on board. The security was beginning their rounds, beckoning people to put on a mask once out of the water. A dragonfly fluttered by just in front of me, reminding us that the weather is slowly but surely changing. We have faced a lot of changes this year and will inevitably face more in the future. As of late, the term new normal can be heard everywhere. Over time, the new normal would slowly blend into our everyday lives, and soon enough, we all erase new from its name. Yet, that afternoon at the end of summer, in the freezing water under the beautiful blue sky, I was just enjoying the moment.